What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode here, the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts on the side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, Mr. Tad the Side. And Tad, we're upon it. We're at Combine Week this week. So this is really, sort of like that ramp up to, draft season going into full gear, looking at, prospects raising or dropping their stock. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun. Should see some, interesting combine performances. We obviously had Xavier Worthy last year setting a blazing record in the 40-yard time. I know me and you are not huge fans of the 40, but I mean, it's still a spectacle to see, right?
We'll talk about that.
All the other drills too as well. So it's like Combine Week. You excited?
No, Combine's overrated. Especially now that they're going to I don't know if you remember, but now, to rep my favorite team, Indianapolis, that's always been a hard thing, right? It's always been like the Combine in Indianapolis, and now they're going to start moving it around. Bullshit.
Is that confirmed? I thought it was
still
still
a rumor. It's confirmed, but yeah, it's gonna happen. Let's be real, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a staple. Because even going back to like the RCA Dome, it was held there as well, and
exactly.
then Oil. So it's just like, yeah, that's the way I associate it. So yeah, that'll be interesting if they do actually confirm that's going to be moving around. I have no doubt that if that is confirmed, they'll probably make an announcement during the broadcast this weekend. That's like, oh, check us out. The Combine will be at XYZ place next year or something like that. But it's like, yeah, I do agree with you. That is a little bit of a staple that I would hate to see disappear if they do decide to move it around.
It's going to put St. Elmo's out of business. That is such a specific reference for only like football diehards.
Yeah. Combine aficionados for sure. But yeah, Tad, speaking of the Combine, I remember this last year, and I'm pretty sure Underdog will do it again this year. You can bet on the Combine stuff. So you can bet on players running their 40 time. There's not so much as far as like the other drills that you can sort of bet on, but the 40 time you definitely bet on. But yeah, outside the NFL, you'll have the MLB season starting in about less than a month. You got the second half of the NBA season, as well as the second half of the NHL season going on right now. You got MMA, you got boxing, you got a lot of things to be betting on, guys. So just because the NFL season is gone for the time being, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be partnering with our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. So guys, get into the action. Use our promo code DESAI, DESAI. You could double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500, courtesy of our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. Guys, very easy to use, both the website as well as the apps on Apple and Android devices. Very user-friendly, probably one of the most easiest websites and applications as far as on phones and mobile devices that I've used out of all the betting platforms that we used over the course of our podcast history. So guys, take advantage of our promo code offer. That promo code is once again DESAI, DESAI. Double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more, up to $500, thanks to our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. So Tad, as mentioned, it's Combine Week. So before we get into the, we're doing a little bit of a Combine preview in today's episode, I want to get a little bit of the breaking news related to the Combine, especially. I know you want to bring up something as well, but we saw this note that you shared with me already, but Shedeur Sanders has opted out of participating in the Combine drills. He will be participating in media interviews. He did the same thing when he was invited to the East-West Shrine game. So good move or bad move? What do you think?
You broke up for that entire thing, so I have no idea who you're talking about.
I said Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, that moron. Yes. Yeah, no, let's talk about that idiot. Because I texted you this in all caps, and I say this every year. No one cares if you don't throw well at the Combine. No one does. I've said it, and the reason I say it is because I have watched and read, I'm not even joking, like dozens of scouts and former GMs and everybody who actually does all the decision making say, yeah, if you miss a couple throws, we get it. Like we more want to see, like, could you reach that far? Or like obviously if you were that horrifically off target, yeah, then they're going to be worried. But if it was like, you missed him by like a yard, no one's going to give a shit. And then, okay, fine. You don't want to throw ASCAP's attacking my arm. Fine. You don't want. I'm sorry. I know
he's a
Shedeur fan. I know. But still, because you're both assholes. You're both idiots. So anyway. He is so going to attack me later.
Cap is a Shedeur stan. Can't put it past you.
That's right. Yeah, no, exactly. Is there anything less shocking in the world? But okay, fine. You don't want to throw. Fine. Bad call, but whatever. You're not even going to run the 40. You're not even going to do a bench press. Like, you're going to do nothing?
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb. If this was Cam Ward doing that, I would 100% understand. Because Cam Ward's like, hey, man, I'm not. Did Caleb Williams? Yeah, Caleb Williams did this last year. He's like, let's be real, guys. He sat out everything. I was like,
yeah,
it's hard to blame him for that.
Yeah.
Also, is it food for your thoughts or kibble for your thoughts? Because one of my family members just texted me a kibble for your thoughts.
That's
what distracted me. I was looking in the corner.
I've
like,
always heard food for thought. I was like, never in my life heard kibble for thoughts. I was like, whoa, really?
Sorry, that threw me off for a bit. But anyway,
that's a new one on me.
But Shedeur is not QB number 1.
No.
So like sitting out all of this is just, I don't like it. I think it's a terrible, terrible move.
And I think just to reinforce your sort of opinion on this fact is that, like you said, that this quarterback draft class, it's a lot more unsure because, yes, Cam Ward is the quote-unquote QB1, but even that, it's not as definite to the exact comparison that you made Caleb Williams last year, where it was like, yes, clear-cut, he is going first overall. He is the first quarterback off the board, whatever you want to play it that way. But yeah, this year, it's a lot more unsteady as far as like, who's going to go 1, who's going to go 2 off the board as far as the quarterback position. As far as the top 5 is a lot more fluid this year compared to last year as well. So I can understand. There's a lot of, media analysts that are saying it's like maybe he doesn't want to be directly compared to a lot of his peers during this combine. So it's like he will make his throws, then you'll see somebody right after him or somebody right before him that'll do either better or worse or whatever. So it's like maybe that's why he's not doing it. But yeah, it's not the greatest move for sure. I think he definitely needs to take every advantage that he needs to sort of set himself apart there. Rumors are that the Giants are very highly interested in drafting him. So it's like, I don't know whether they sort of have it locked up that they'll take him at number 3 overall or whether they'll make some sort of move. I don't
lock up because who knows what the hell Cleveland's doing it too.
That is going to be very interesting for sure. But Tad, also another big piece of news before you get to your news, which is actually Shedeur Sanders sort of related. Abdul Carter. He will not be participating in the combine this year because he is dealing with a shoulder injury. So his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, the big power agent in the NFL landscape there, has sort of came out and said that he will not be participating in any drills or the 40 time or anything like that. He will be participating in interviews as well. But this is obviously, even if he was healthy, he's very much in that case where it's like, if you didn't do drills, it's sort of understandable. But yeah, he is not going to be he's not going to be participating because of a shoulder injury. But yeah, last piece of news, Tad, I'm sure you wanted to share here as far as the combine, a little bit draft related as well.
Well, 2 things. One, it was my sister making a joke about Cap. So there you go. Kibble,
there you
kibble
go.
for your
Okay.
thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, speaking of kibble, you already had dinner, dude. But let me just put the qualifier of this is not news. These are rumors. There's a difference.
Of course.
I got to put my journalist hat on for a bit. I'm sure with my hair, you'd like me to put a hat on just all the time. But yeah, so I knew
As
it.
of right now,
I knew it. You said you liked it.
I never said I liked it.
You did.
I will go on record and say I never said I liked it.
No G.I. Jane jokes this time, though, so I appreciate that. So the latest rumors I saw, and again, this may be just, it comes from a reputable Twitter follow, which is, it doesn't sound like it, but NFL rumor, news and rumors on Twitter, which is pretty reputable.
Yeah.
They have reported that apparently the Titans are exploring a trade with the Raiders that would include Max Crosby for the number 1 overall pick. And then they would sign Aaron Rodgers to be their bridge quarterback. They being the Titans there. And then the Raiders would take either Ward or Sanders, number 1 overall. Probably Ward.
Yeah, that would make the most sense to me. But yeah, that would be pretty interesting because, yeah, there's a lot of rumors circulating this offseason about Max Crosby possibly being dealt, Myles Garrett possibly being dealt. Obviously, we already heard the news about the Chargers possibly going to, or leaning more towards it's going to happen that they're going to release Joey Bosa before, free agency starts. So yeah, lots of big veteran pass rushers going to be on the market potentially. So we'll see how that all plays out there. But Tad, before we obviously get to all the veteran free agents, because we still got a couple weeks before free agency is upon us, let's get to the prospects first. Let's get to the combine here. So we wanted to highlight some guys that we're intrigued by as far as if they have a good combine, they could definitely raise their stock, or it's very imperative that they have a good performance at the combine. So who's one of those guys for you?
I think this is the guy with the most pressure this weekend, because if he performs well, it sounds weird, but I think he could solidify himself as a first rounder. And before people yell at me, the other week, I was not laughing and cursing about like, no way does he go in the first round. I said, no way he goes top 10.
Okay.
Do I think he should be a first rounder? No, but that's another discussion for later.
All right. I'm very intrigued by this.
Well, it's your boy, Jaxson Dart.
Jaxson Dart.
Jaxson
Why
Dart.
Is he my boy all of a sudden?
Because you were the one that said he was like, oh, he might go top 10.
That doesn't mean I think he should go top 10. I'm just seeing it a
your
lot
boy.
on social
texted
media.
me 2 hours after that show being like, I really like him.
I like some of the tape, but yeah, so go further into your Jaxson Dart take here.
Jaxson chart. But so with Dart is, as we already broke down, Sanders isn't throwing, right? So it's fairly universal or fairly consensus that, Cam Ward, QB1, Shedeur, QB2, who's QB3. This is Jaxson Dart's chance. I don't know why I refer to him by first name basis there. This is his chance to solidify himself as QB3. And especially if he, does well in the throwing drills, because a lot of the, knocks on him you'll see is his deep, not even just deep accuracy, but it's just arm power in general is just kind of eh. So if he puts some good zip on some of those deep throws, I think he'll quiet a lot of those concerns. He is a fairly mobile quarterback. Murr, if I had made you guess, which I'm about to, has Jaxson Dart ever rushed for over 500 yards?
I will say no.
He rushed for 650 yards last year.
Last year? Okay, so most recently. Okay.
And then this past season,
490. Okay.
Well, so that was 2 years ago. This past
2 years
season,
ago, okay.
He finished at 495.
Okay. So he's got that potential in him.
He's got a little bit of a Jets on him. So if, let's say, I don't know, he finishes with like a 4.5, 4.4, 40. Well, I think, like I said, I think he's locked for the first round. So I think the Steelers are interesting to keep an eye on. The Seahawks are an interesting team. The Rams, with all this Matt Stafford talk going on, all of these are late first round teams that if Jaxson Dart performs well this weekend, I think can really, really put himself on the radar.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the more intriguing names to watch for the combine.
Oh, and sorry to interrupt real quick. He has been confirmed, because I did look this up. It is confirmed he will throw at the combine.
Yeah, I like to think so. Especially, like I said, I'm seeing a lot of rumors about his stock steadily rising. So it's like, yeah, if he has a good combine performance, that could sort of like really assure a lot of people that's like, yeah, this guy could definitely be in conversation for QB3 off this year's draft class of position. So I'm going to stick to the quarterback position, because I have a name, Tad, that we sort of been talking about way before the season began, is like, maybe this is a guy, in the conversation for being one of those top quarterbacks taken. Didn't have the greatest season last season. I think that's why you saw his stock tumble here. And that is Quinn Ewers, quarterback with the Texas Longhorns. So
Noodle Armelli.
So you already sort of laid it out there. I think it's sort of a foregone conclusion. And I think the top two quarterbacks that will be taken in this year's draft will be Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. We'll have to wait and see as far as which order that will go in, because I think it's still very much up in the air there. But the rankings below those two guys, I think it's very fluid. So you see guys like, Jaxson Dart or Quinn Ewers here, or, maybe somebody got Taylor Shuck out of Louisville suddenly getting a lot of steam now too. So it's like, if he has a good combine, it's like possibly he could be in the conversation there for QB3. But just like, I think it's a lot more, like I said, just to jump back to something I brought up to start the podcast, just like this quarterback draft class, it's not so dead set that's like, this is the guy that needs to go first off the board at the position. It's a lot more, murky. You're just not sure what you're going to get with some of those guys. So it's like, you look at Ewers. I mean, like I said, this was a guy considered one of the better prospects in the 2024 draft class. But like I said, having a poor season last year, dealing with some more injuries again, I think it's just that's going to hurt his draft stock. So one of the big things that I want to see from him at the combine specifically is he needs to improve his footwork. Because one of the biggest things that I was watching with his tape was that whenever he gets pressure in his face, his lower body the mechanics just go right out the window. It's just, I don't know what it is.
I call him noodle arm, but that's exactly why. Like, he's short hands, a ton of throws, and that's exactly why. It's not before people are like, he can rock it. Yeah, no, he actually has a fairly good arm. But no, sorry to interrupt, but like that's exactly it. It's like, yeah, no, his feet go flat, but also lateral, right? So there's no like drive off the ball. God, that dude cost AD Mitchell like 200 yards.
No, and exactly, like, you sort of bring up the point of flat-footed. It's like, even when he has time, there are times where he's making his throws flat-footed instead of getting on the balls of his feet or really driving his throws with his lower half. So that is one thing that we can see, because you can't see if he understands the pressure a little bit better. Like, that's not something that the combine does for you.
We should do that. We should throw like bags at him during the throwing drills.
They're always looking for ways to improve, but yeah, I think sort of simulating that sort of pressure would always be something that can always help with like this position, other positions as well. It's just like, yeah, but we're not going to see it at the combine.
Make it a fan experience thing, right? Like, if you win a contest, not only do you get to throw stuff at quarterbacks, but it's like those t-shirt cannons that they fire to the stands and you just like rocket t-shirts at them while they're throwing. This is a great idea. Roger, call me.
Or it's like the college football and like the old Madden drills where you do the training camp or whatever, and you got those virtual Nerf.
Oh, those things were the worst.
Or whatever.
Yes, yeah,
you have to adjust. So it's that would be awesome to do as well. But just, that is something that's like we could see, especially like, on the drop backs, as far as like, rolling out of the pocket. I think we'll see it a little bit more when he does his pro day, but I think some of these things he could possibly clean up for the combine. I do want to wait and see as far as like how he handles pressure, like, adjusting to it's like the guy's gonna hit you right in the face. You still got to make a strong throw. That is one thing I'll give Shedeur Sanders over a lot of prospects in this class, is that he's willing to sit in there and make a throw, and he makes a good throw. Yeah, so that's one thing he has over a lot of the quarterbacks in this draft class. But Quinn Ewers needs to improve in that. The other thing that I want to see from Quinn Ewers, this is more of an interview thing, but like I brought up, he dealt with a lot of injuries during his entire time at Texas. So that's the one thing that you sort of need to assure a lot of the scouts and a lot of the teams that you're interviewing with. That's like, there's just, fluke injuries, or just like, just happen to like, you don't want to throw your offensive line under the bus or anything like that, but just like you want to sort of,
which Shedeur has done, by the way.
So it's like you want to paint a better picture as to why you suffer these injuries, and that it's not going to be a recurring thing once you get to the next level, right? Because you want to give a team an assurance that's like, we draft you and you're our franchise quarterback. If you're on the bench half the time, like Joel Embiid is for the Sixers, it's like, you're not doing us any good by being our franchise quarterback, right? So it's like, that is one thing that I also want to see from him during the interviews. We're not going to get as privy to that details during combine week, but the footwork thing is a big thing that I'm hoping I could see some improvement of during the combine week.
How dangerous do we want the combine to be? Because how about this for an idea? We underutilize Olympic athletes all across the world, right? I mean, they need to make a paycheck, in the years between those four.
Sure. Sometimes 8.
That's why I was stumbling on that. I was like, is it 4 or is it 8? We employ Olympic javelin throwers.
Oh, geez. No, I'm stopping there.
And while the quarterback drops back, okay, the quarterback's throwing it one way. The javelin throwers are like, all right, how mobile are you? That's a good test of footwork.
I'm going to stop you there. Anything involving a javelin is something
javelins.
That's like, nope, don't need to do
foam
it.
Javelins.
Not happening.
Give you
Not
a good
happening.
bruise. But no, I will say this just on Quinn Ewers real quick I think this is a very big weekend for him, and not just in terms of, helping his draft stock, but also legitimizing his decision to declare, because I am still this, train of thought that was a terrible decision. I think he should have gone the Carson Beck route, because Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers both had basically the same story.
Those are the two guys that we were talking about. I remember.
Exactly. Yeah. Highly touted. I mean, that was basically QB1 versus QB2.
I remember one of the recurring conversations we had this entire past college football season, Tad, was just that Carson Beck was bad and Quinn Ewers was having a bad season as well. So just like the fact that Carson Beck went back and Quinn Ewers decided to go pro, I very much agree with you. That's like, this is very much, you sort of need to cement the fact that it's like, I made the right decision instead of the wrong one, right? So
I think he made the wrong call, because I think that's why I love that decision by Carson Beck is he goes to a very highly publicized team, I guess, a high profile team.
Yeah.
And, okay, he gets to sell the injury concerns. He gets to prove himself like, hey, that 4 interception game or whatever it was against Alabama, that was a fluke. Like, that was the exception, not the rule. And Quinn Ewers, like you said, like, we have tons of question marks about him. And it's just like, I don't know if you made the right call there. So this will be interesting to see if he can prove me wrong.
I agree with that. So yeah, overall, the quarterback position is one of those positions I'm definitely intrigued by the entire draft process here, and they'll definitely be under the microscope at the combine for sure. So Tad, why don't you give me another guy that you're intrigued by with the combine weekend approaching?
So I'm already wearing Colts sweatshirt for our listeners. So I'm going to double up. I'm going to go double homer. You ready?
Okay.
Because this guy's stock is rising, and I think he has a very good chance to keep going up. Jack Bech, baby.
Okay, Jack Bech, you're
Senior Bowl
MVP. Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing with him, and I understand why, because he played mostly receiver at LSU before he transferred over to TCU, where he actually lined up more often than not at the tight end position. Now, it was more of like a Brock Bowers type situation where you're like, all right, fine, tight end, but he's like
glorified
in a slot.
Receiver,
yeah, exactly. So, but there were times where he would line up on the line and he would block or run a route out of the 3-point stance. So
really quick, Ted, what's his build?
Oh God. I almost looked it up, but all right, let me guess. I'm gonna guess around 6'2", 220.
Oh, I don't know. I thought you had those numbers.
No, that's my guess. That's my guess.
That's your guess. 6'2", 220. Okay.
Well, I talk, you look it up, and then we'll see.
Okay.
But I think I see where you're going with that, though, because this is one of the reasons I picked him. Is one, I think he'll have a surprisingly good 40 time. He's pretty fast for a guy his size. So I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with that. I'm not saying he's going to be like 4.3, 4.4, or sorry, 4.3, 4.2. Now, 4.4 would not shock me. But on top of that, because he is seen more as a receiver, but I think there is some tight end potential there at the next level. His bench reps is going to be interesting. Because if he absolutely kills, hold on. Because if he absolutely kills at the bench reps, that tells me, even though he may be a little undersized, I think that he could be a legitimate block, not one of the best blockers in the league, but legitimate enough where he could line up as tight end. And how about this? If he has a good weekend at the combine, it would not shock me if he went top of the second round or even snuck into the first round. Now, you're nodding your head, which really kills this next point because I was expecting are you crazy? So anyway, for those of you going, are you crazy? At this point last year, had I told you that Ricky Pearsall would be a first rounder, you all would have said I was insane.
Yeah.
So I think now, do I think Bech is going to go anywhere before 25? No, but that 25-32 range might be interesting.
So I think I just questioned the tight end transferability there because he comes in at 6'1", 212. So it's that is definitely
that was not bad by me. I was off by an inch and 10
It definitely was not.
Pretty
but I think if he was 6'2", 220, I could sort of maybe reason a little bit more that if he bulks up enough, he could probably play at the tight end position or at least line up, do some chip blocks, and then go out on some routes or something like that. But when you're 6'1", 212, I feel like it's just a little bit. I know it's not huge, but I feel like it's enough where just I don't see that transition happening enough. I think I see him more as just a big bodied wide receiver. So it's just fine. He definitely plays the position really well to be a big bodied wide receiver, but that tight end sort of, possibly using him there, it's I don't see that happening.
And that's what, and let me clarify before people start saying you made, this comparison. I'm not comparing their talent level. I'm just simply saying I could see this utilization be close to the same thing. The exact same way the Raiders utilized Brock Bowers. I mean, Brock Bowers, if I looked, my guess would be 80% of his snaps were from the slot.
Yeah.
And then occasionally, he'd be on the line. That's what I'm saying Jack Bech could be. When, I read a bunch of people who didn't watch TCU football, and don't get me wrong, I don't blame you. I regret doing it this past season. A lot of people they just see wide receiver TCU and you just think it's a Savion Williams. Savion Williams and Jack Bech, not the same player. Sure. So that's the one thing is I think Bech can make a very clear argument for his versatility this weekend. Go Frogs. Also, Savion Williams needs to have a good week because if he doesn't, he's not getting drafted.
All right, very intrigued by that one. But yeah, I think I like the sort of, especially like I said, with him winning the Senior Bowl MVP honors, that already put a lot of scouts' attention on him. And so I'm pretty sure when he goes to the combine now, a lot of people are going to be looking at more. That's like, oh, this guy killed it at the Senior Bowl and all during Senior Bowl week. Can he follow it up with a good combine performance? So yeah, if he follows it up with a good combine performance, then it's like, yeah, I could very much see a conversation happening where it's like, yeah, he could be in that Ricky Pearsall sort of situation where it's like, people were really eyeing him as a first round talent. I think the bigger thing was that people saw that he had first round talent and they're looking at that. It doesn't speak about Pearsall specifically. They're looking at that as the draft was happening, like the whole draft process. So it's like a lot of March, a lot of beginning of April. But as we got closer to the draft day, that's when a lot of people were like, no, I think Pearsall is probably going to slide at the top of day 2. So it's like, I could see something very similar happening with Besh, where it's like, if he kills it at the combine, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh yeah, very much in your boat, where it's like, this guy has fringe RB1, wide receiver 1 talent as far as being drafted in the first round. But then maybe as we get closer to draft, some other guys maybe have more successful pro days, whatever it is, he may slip to the top of the second round. But then there may be some team in that range there from 26 to 32 that'll be like, you know what, I want that extra year on Besh. Let's trade up and try and get this guy, sort of thing. So I can see very much that happening for sure. So
he's gonna be an Eagle, isn't he? Damn it!
I don't think they need the wide receiver position though. They got pretty good.
Jahan Dotson was okay, and AJ Brown. I mean, if he keeps reading books on the sidelines, who knows how long he's gonna be sticking around.
Hey, his inner excellence helped him.
Did you see that book is still in the Amazon top 10?
I don't doubt it, especially after their Super Bowl win. I'm pretty sure
was a total marketing. That was an absolute marketing plan by the author. Well done, sir. I wish I had come up with that idea.
Whatever it was, but yeah, I think that was just one of the more insane stats from the wild card weekend, where it was like, what, 532,000 on the Amazon bestseller list, and it shot up all the way to number 1 because of that brief glimpse on the sidelines of AJ Brown rating it. But yeah, that is pretty insane marketing.
We need just to mail AJ Brown just an absolute fuck ton of Desai Guys t-shirts.
Yeah, I think let's do it. Let's do it.
Like an extra large, so we can like put it over his jersey at the end of the game, like they do in the Super Bowl.
Hey, they wear t-shirts during warm-up, so we could just wear them and send them a normal size too. So it'll happen. So I don't know if this happened on purpose, Dad, but I also have a wide receiver for my second guy that I want to talk about here. But I'm staying on the West Coast. I'm going to the University of Stanford, and I'm going to talk about Alec Ayomanor.
This is, not trying.
I think it's Ayomanor, if I remember correctly. But
you are asking the way wrong guy.
I know. Especially after I was watching his tape, I heard the name, but just like, yeah, it's one of those things I'll have to make sure I dial up as we get closer to the draft here. But just, yeah, I think most sites and prospects, most sites and experts that I'm seeing as far as how they view Ayomanor, they're viewing him as outside the top 5 as far as wide receiver position is concerned. So heading into the combine, I think very similar to the quarterback position. This is why, like I said, it's not so crazy that you were like, Jack Besh could possibly be a borderline first round wide receiver, because I think the wide receiver position outside of Tetaroa, that's the way your friend said. That's how you
I had no idea. I need to look that up, actually. I was thinking about that earlier.
Tetaroa. I think that's what you told me. Tetaroa and like Luther Burden. I think those are like the top 2 guys. But outside of them, it's like, I think it's a lot more fluid. I know, obviously, you got Emeka Buka out of Ohio State. You have Matthew Golden out of Texas. I mean, there's a few other guys there, but just like, it's still not fully decided as far as like, these are the top guys. So I think you look at a guy like Ayomanor, you look at a guy like Jack Besh. I think there's a few guys out there that could possibly slip into the top 5, or, state their case that they should be top 5 wide receivers with a solid combine performance. So you look at Ayomanor, he had a good college career, big 2 seasons at Stanford, showcased a lot of great grabs. Like, I mean, this guy was definitely saving his quarterback at times with some amazing grabs.
You stole my talking point. Like, that guy had to put up with so much shitty quarterback play.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing that I watched when I was watching the tape of Ayomanor. Is just like, unfortunately, he just didn't have good quarterback play, but he's able to bail out his quarterback quite a bit. And it just speaks to the fact that he probably could have had even better numbers if he had good quarterback play, but just wasn't consistent enough. I think the biggest thing too is that he was able to light up the University of Colorado, Tad, a couple years ago for the span of 294 yards off of 13 receptions and 3 touchdowns. And
in one game, he had 13 catches in one game.
Not even one game. It was like pretty much the entire second half because I don't even remember. This was for 2023, so this wasn't one last year, but it was this pretty much the game that put Iomanor sort of on the people's radar. So I was like, this guy could possibly be pretty good because then if you look at specifically against Travis Hunter specifically, he had 7 receptions for I think like 190 yards and 2 touchdowns, including one where he absolutely mossed him. So it's like he caught it above him, took him into the end zone, and he scored a touchdown on top of him. So it's like this is before he won the Heisman and the Biletnikoff and all that stuff. But it's like still, Travis Hunter was still good 2 years ago too. Obviously it just cemented his last year at Colorado. But yeah, Iomanor's got some good talent for sure.
Almost like Travis Hunter is overrated.
Almost. We'll get to that probably in a later episode for sure.
Oh, yes, we will.
But yeah, Iomanor, I think he's got good speed. He could be a deep threat. I think you saw that during his time in Stanford, but I think he's very slippery as well with the ball in his hands. He can sort of make those short passes and then use his speed, a little bit of his size as well. It comes in at 6'1". I think it's 6'1", 220, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he's a bigger body receiver as well. So it's like he could definitely make some moves to get into the open field there. But I think the biggest thing is that he made amazing grabs. Yes, for sure. But I saw a lot of tape Tad where he just had a lot of just, these focus drops or like, concentration drops or whatever you want to call them, where it's like the guy is wide open, but for some reason the ball's laid out perfectly too. So it's like, I know we talked about Stanford not having good quarterback play, but it's like there are times where the guy just absolutely laid it up for him and he just simply dropped it. And it was just sort of surprising to see. And so I'm very intrigued to see how he does in the gauntlet drill. And if you don't remember what the gauntlet drill is, essentially it's both receivers and defensive backs do it, but it's mainly more important, I think, for receivers that they run directly down a yard line and there's quarterbacks that are throwing balls like every, I think maybe 5-yard span down the yard line or whatever. So it's like pretty much just testing whether you can stay on that line, make catches, obviously, and then catch it, run with it at the very final pass. And then you sort of do that there. So consistent throws and consistent catches there. Iomanor is a show that he could sort of keep all those passes reined in. I think that will definitely assure a lot of scouts that's like, okay, I think just maybe, sure, that's like maybe it's like a rhythm thing at Stanford that's just like, a lot of overthrown passes, underthrown passes. Like when the ball's finally in your way, it's just like, oh, shoot, now I dropped this sort of thing instead of like being in the rhythm to get a lot of passes thrown your way, a lot of catchable balls. I think that's the bigger thing there. So I like to see that. Also, I think, Tad, like I said, he shows good speed. But if he kills it with a good 40 times, so it's like maybe somewhere in that 4.4 range, then yeah, I think very much he could definitely be on scouts' eyes for sure that much more because I think he shows the good speed. He shows the amazing athleticism, a little bit of that yak ability. So yeah, those are things that I think can really cement him to possibly be a top 5 wide receiver. But yeah, Iomanor, he's the guy I got my eyes on.
4 things.
4 things. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 2 of them are quick.
Okay.
1, there are a few sports terms that will always make me laugh, but yak is definitely one of them. Yeah. Anytime I hear yak, I have to smile.
I like it better than yard though, because have you heard that one? It's yards after run.
What the fuck does that even mean?
It's the same thing, but people call it yard
after
for some
run.
Reason. Like, that is
That's the whole point of getting yards.
I know.
That makes no sense. That's like instead of like average in baseball, it's like, like you're hitting average. Like, yeah, that's what an average is.
I know.
But anyway,
I know.
2, who is the receiver? I'm trying so hard to think right now, but it was like, I get 3-4 years ago running the gauntlet drill. And because for those of you who don't know, the balls come from alternating directions. Do you remember the receiver that turned too late and just got absolutely drilled in the face?
Yes, I do remember exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember the receiver though. But yes, I do remember that.
All right.
I do remember that.
All right, I will tweet that out from the show account later tonight in case viewers and listeners are like, I need to see this. I'll find the link and I'll tweet it out. 3.
I do remember
that. See, he even did phonetically. I still can't do it. Teteroa.
I think that's what I said. Yeah, Teteroa.
Teteroa. That's for viewers. That's there you go. In case you're wondering, like, who is this guy? He's been in Arizona. He's literally the only Arizona fan I know. So, like, if anyone's gonna know, it's him. 4th thing.
4th thing is your freeze, so that's gonna be lovely.
Mock drafts back in November.
You froze there, so I don't know what your 4th thing was.
Okay, so with the Stanford receiver, I remember, looking at mock drafts in November, and a couple of them had him as a 1st-round receiver, and he kind of petered out. He didn't do anything bad. Just kind of like he just cooled off. But I mean, I'm telling you, even just the eyeball test, because do you know who TCU opened their season against?
I'm guessing Stanford.
I
know they played last season because I was watching that game on TV. I just didn't realize that was the opener. Okay.
Yeah, that was on my birthday. And they finally won on my birthday. Finally. Barely, but finally. I could just tell watching this guy. I did not know him. Well, I had heard of him, but like I barely knew him before that game. And just watching him against us, I was like, yeah, no, we're gonna see this guy on Sundays. So no, that'll be now. Is he capable of running a 4.4?
Based on what I saw from the tape, it seems like he's got some good breakaway speed. But yeah, that is the big thing. So it's like if he could cement it with a good 4.4.
Yeah, he didn't look all that fast against us. Not that he was slow. It was just like that would surprise me. That would raise my eyebrows if he came in below 4.5.
And I think that's the thing. So he's not labeled as a deep threat, but he has that ability. So it's like if you look at the more tape that I was watching of him at Stanford, and obviously we'll dive further into this in our wide receiver episode. But yeah, he's got that ability to sort of, get down on receivers. So it's like, get that deep shot and like be open that way. Stanford only used him on a very limited route tree anyway. So that was one of them, the go route, the 9 route, whatever you want to call it. But I think he was able to sort of outclass a lot of defenders with this speed. But yeah, I don't know if I'd label him in like that, Tyreek Hill, Deshaun Jackson, those types of players' speed. But it's like he's got good breakaway speed when he needs to.
Before Jamal Modney starts yelling at us, look, I know we just did a lot of 40 talk. I don't know about you. I hate the 40. I agree.
I'm not a fan of it either.
We got to talk about it because it's going to affect their stock. So before people are like, where's the 40 matter?
The biggest thing that a lot of people love about the combine is just people running in a straight line for 40 yards.
I was watching a YouTube video last week of the biggest draft bust of the last 10 years because, of course, and this guy came in like number 3, number 4, and I completely forgot about him. John Ross. You want to talk about 40-yard times being like way overrated? Good Lord, John Ross.
I know.
That is Generation Alpha or whatever the hell they're called. That is their Darius Hayward-Bay.
Darius Hayward-Bay, Henry Ruggs. Remember, he set the record at one point.
I mean, well, we're not going to get that one. Because Ruggs actually looked pretty good. Just can't drive worth a shit.
Yeah, that's a different story for sure. But yeah, I think those are the guys that I think we sort of have our eyes on as the combine comes upon us this weekend. We'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as far as combine action. You catch it all on NFL Network, or if you have NFL Plus, you can watch it there for some reason as well. I don't know if it's
what is that?
It's like their version of like ESPN Plus, I guess, or whatever. So it's like you get access and different things like that.
Oh, okay. So it's like on the okay, all right, that makes sense. Because I was about to say, it was just like, why the fuck would I pay for that?
So,
you know what would be cool if they put webcams like in the interview rooms? I would watch the shit out of that.
Oh, I think a lot of people would, but I think for that specific reason, I don't think they'd ever do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would give away like every team's exact draft strategy. It'd be like when players like tweet out something, they're like, look at the whiteboard behind them.
Yep, exactly. But guys, yeah, we'll definitely have your post-combine coverage. We'll definitely probably maybe tweet a few things as the combine is going on. Me and Tad will be invested with all that, so we'll give you all of our analysis after the combine is over. But yeah, as mentioned, after the combine is done, we'll probably do a little bit of analysis there, but then free agency will be upon us, So it's like maybe we'll see some of those trades with some of those pass rushers that we brought up at the top of the episode with, your Myles Garrett, your Max Crosby, your Joey Bosa, as far as how that all plays out. The quarterback movement with Sam Darnold and Justin Fields and all those guys. Aaron Rodgers is most likely going to be released. So we'll definitely have a little bit of coverage there. But yeah, definitely we'll be diving heavier into all the draft stuff to get you guys prepared. Where I talked about, we'll do like position rankings, position related episodes. We'll simulate the GM rooms as far as like what do we think a team should do with their draft picks, how they attack as far as playing the board. We'll do a lot of fun things related to the draft, but also, guys, the best way we can find out as far as what you're interested in, what prospects you want us to focus on. I mean, just anything and everything in between there when it comes to the draft and free agency and the NFL in general is you got us hit us up on our social media handles. You got us on Twitter. You got me at OnTheSide23, Tad at TadSide94. Got the show handle at The Side Guys. and of course on Instagram at the Decide Guys as well. So hit us up. We'd love to hear your thoughts as far as who do you want us to scout, what teams you want us to focus on, both NFL as well as college prospects, all of that in between there. We'll definitely try our best to get everything we can on our podcast episodes or possibly in graphics as well. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast, where we release your podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you're always updated with our podcast. And please, guys, make sure you're supporting our parent network at LAFB Network, because without them, there'd be no us. They're giving you a lot of great content when it comes to the Rams and the Chargers at the professional level and the Bruins and the Trojans at the college football level. But Ted, not just football anymore with LAFB Network. They got you covered with all the NBA news. So the second half of the season, they got you covered with Clippers and Lakers coverage, how they're going to do the second half of the season. And of course, they got you covered with MLB coverage, which will be happening in about less than a month or so. We'll have MLB action with regular season games. Already got the spring training going on right now. So you got, your Angels and Dodgers coverage will be on tap pretty soon as well, guys. So make sure you're supporting them. Lots of great content coming from a lot of great content producers. But to everybody who's already supporting us by interacting with us on social media, by listening to our podcast, by watching our videos, by commenting on YouTube or wherever you make your comments, just anything and everything that you're doing to support the podcast, we really cannot thank you enough.
Dre Archer
out of no. Kent State.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Well done.
I remember I wanted to say Kansas State, but I was like, no, I think it was the Golden Flash. Yeah, Kent State.
Dante Stallworth.
I don't know where he went to school.
He ran
Stallworth had a pretty productive career.
He ran a 4.22.
Though.
I did not know that. He ran a 4.22.
Stallworth was a solid veteran in the league. He played with a lot of good teams.
I'm just learning this right now. Apparently Stallworth went to Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay.
Go Bulls. Also, real quick with Tennessee, I saw a great Colts fan tweet that said, "Trade for Joe Milton. I'm done with Richardson." I'm like, yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's
what you need. That one game. What is it, Brock Osweiler again? Where it's like you saw that one game and all of a sudden people are losing their mind.
Matt Flynn 2.0.
Matt Flynn, exactly. There's another good pull. Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, people, calm down. Joe Milton only has a cannon. That is it.
That is how sick we are of Anthony Richardson. But you know what I'm not sick of? It's all the other LAFB network podcasts going on. Exactly where you find this podcast. Just all you need to do is search up these two names and you will get great info on the USC Trojans with the Salute to Troy podcast hosted by Al Rowe. A lot going on this offseason. Huge year for USC. Absolute massive year. Lincoln Riley on the hot seat.
I think it's a very crucial year.
I think it's a hot seat. I think his seats get a little toasty over there. So if you want breakdown on that and also USC draft prospects, Al's got all the best information. And if you're like us, where you just kind of like to have fun, but also get some football, news and information and just football talk, check out LA Popfidential, the closest podcast we have.
All LA sports, not just football. He talks Dodgers, he talks Lakers, he does it all.
We don't mention the Lakers anymore on the show. We've discussed this.
Maybe you don't, but I
know we did. So Luka finally got over 30 points. Yay. And motherfucker. Not Luka. You're a saint. Anyway, what was I talking about? LA Confidential. Be sure to check it out. Hosted by a very good friend of the show, Chauncey Talese. So they do all kinds of great stuff. And check out all the other podcasts as well, especially Jamal Money and Will Decker. Whatever they are on, whether it's a guest appearance or a hosting appearance, they know their stuff when it comes to the draft. So if you're a draft junkie like we are, be sure to go check out anything they write or say as well. So as always, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And please stay safe, everyone.